Under the velvet shroud of midnight, Emily Hart, long acclimated to the ceaseless howls of a neighbor's dog, was startled by a sound unlike any before, a series of 3 brisk, insistent knocks that halted her mid-bite and left her cereal languishing in its bowl. The knock was not a stray bark, the hum of a distant car, or even the restless murmur of the wind against her window. It was something deliberate, almost beckoning. As the sound repeated with greater urgency, her pulse quickened. With trembling resolve, Emily edged toward her door, peering through the peephole to behold a solemn figure clad in a dark suit. In the dim corridor light, his face appeared ghostly as he extended an envelope and intoned, "I have something for you." What fate would unravel behind this unexpected call? Hesitantly, Emily unlatched her door just enough to invite the stranger's presence. In a voice both measured and enigmatic, he declared, "You have inherited a property." His words struck her like a bolt of lightning. Her elusive great-uncle Samuel Hart had passed away, and the stately mansion on Willow Lane was now hers. The man, whose features echoed a figure from half-remembered childhood lore, vanished with footsteps that faded into the night, leaving her to confront a destiny long obscured by family myth. What secrets lay waiting behind the mansion's venerable walls? At dawn, driven by a cocktail of apprehension and the allure of a fresh start, Emily gathered her few possessions, well-worn books, a modest change of clothes, and an aging car, and departed the clamorous sprawl of the city. The highway beckoned her toward Willow Lane, a town of quiet cobblestone streets and whispered legends. Upon arrival, the mansion stole her breath away. Its towering windows, expansive wraparound porch, and a lofty tower that flirted with the heavens exuded both majesty and mystery. Yet beneath its stately beauty, an intangible heaviness clung to the air, as if the ancient trees surrounding it bent inward to conceal age-old secrets. What long-forgotten truth lay in wait within its shadowed corridors? Crossing the threshold, Emily was met by the creak of aged floorboards and drifting motes of dust dancing in shafts of golden sunlight. She wandered through a maze of rooms adorned with antique furnishings and faded portraits that silently narrated the passage of time. However, as twilight deepened, the welcoming glow receded into a haunting gloom. In the dead of night, while she lay in uneasy slumber, a barely perceptible whisper, a soft murmur that seemed to call her name, awakened her in terror. Heart pounding, she scanned the darkened room with the feeble beam of her phone, yet found no one, only the unnerving sensation of unseen eyes tracking her every move. Was it merely the play of shadows, or had the mansion come alive with restless memories? Driven by a need to pierce the veil of this mystery, Emily hastened to the study, where in a forgotten drawer lay an ancient diary, its cover as brittle as whispered regrets. With shaking fingers, she unfurled its time-worn pages to discover confessions penned by her elusive great-uncle Samuel Hart. In quivering script, he recounted the sorrowful tale of Clara, a devoted maid whose tender heart had been shattered by the very family she served. Clara's spirit, aggrieved and seeking retribution, was condemned to eternal unrest until justice could mend her wounded soul. As Emily's eyes absorbed the chilling inscription, "Clara will not rest until justice is served," a sudden gust flipped the diary open to a new page bearing a desperate, trembling plea, "Help me." Had this mansion become a prison for a tormented soul, binding her to a legacy of unatoned wrongs? Morning light filtered through cracked curtains as Emily awoke with a start, the spectral echo of the previous night still etched into her mind. The memory of that ghostly whisper and the inexplicable flight of the diary convinced her that Clara's anguished spirit was no figment of her imagination, it was real, and it demanded resolution. Determined to uncover the truth, she set out for Willow Lane, a picturesque town where time seemed to pause on cobblestone lanes and pastel storefronts, each corner steeped in whispered lore. Her journey led her to a modest brick library, its weathered sign EST 1895 a silent guardian of the past. What revelations could these storied archives possibly hold? Inside the hushed library, an elderly librarian with silver hair and gentle eyes welcomed her warmly. "Can I help you, dear?" the kindly figure inquired. "I'm seeking the history of my family, of the Harts, and a woman named Clara Miller," Emily explained, her voice laced with urgency and sorrow. The librarian's smile faltered as she guided Emily to a secluded, dusty alcove of archived memories. There, she retrieved a fragile newspaper from 1920, its headline a mournful tribute, Local maid takes her own life. The article revealed that Clara, once enamored with Emily's great-great-grandfather Thomas Hart, had been brutally cast aside when he denied fatherhood and dismissed her with cold finality, leaving her heart shattered. With a heavy sigh, the librarian confided that the Hart family had once wielded unchallenged power over the town, so formidable that dissent was unthinkable, and Clara's tragic story was deliberately buried. Could the scars of history finally be healed? Leaving the library, Emily's thoughts churned with the bitter injustice of Clara's fate and the heavy legacy of her own lineage. Unsure of where to begin but resolute in her purpose, she returned to the mansion that very night. In the dim glow of a single candle flickering in the study, she clutched the diary and softly addressed the unseen presence. "Clara, I am so deeply sorry for the wrongs inflicted upon you. I yearn to help you find peace." In that fragile moment, the room's temperature dropped, and the diary inexplicably revealed a new page, a final, shaky confession from Samuel Hart written before his passing. He admitted that his efforts to honor Clara's memory had failed, for her spirit remained trapped in anguish, relentlessly demanding justice. Was this a final plea for liberation from a cycle of despair? In the days that followed, Emily immersed herself in arcane texts and whispered legends, determined to free a restless soul from the shackles of past sins. She gathered symbolic tokens, a scattering of candles, fresh blossoms, and a sepia photograph of Clara salvaged from the archives, and prepared for a ritual of redemption. That night, in the cavernous splendor of the mansion's grand hall, she recited ancient incantations of forgiveness and release. The air thickened with unseen energy as candles shuddered in a wild, capricious dance. Then, emerging from the shadows like a sorrowful apparition, Clara's spirit appeared, her visage marked by both deep-seated grief and a spark of defiant hope. "Why should I trust you?" the ghostly figure murmured, voice resonant with pain. "I am not like those who have wronged you," Emily insisted, her tone firm yet compassionate. After a pregnant pause, Clara's ethereal form nodded ever so slightly. As Emily's words of absolution filled the hall, the very foundation of the mansion trembled, and a brilliant light enveloped the space. In that transcendent moment, Clara's face softened into a tender smile as she whispered, "Thank you," before dissolving into the radiance. Had the ancient curse finally been broken? With the first blush of dawn, a serene calm now settled over the mansion, its turbulent past seemingly exorcised. Emily made the heartfelt decision to sell the estate, unable to remain in a place haunted by sorrowful echoes. Yet before parting, she allocated a portion of the mansion's worth to a charitable cause supporting single mothers, a tribute to Clara's memory and a gesture of penance for her family's transgressions. As she drove away from Willow Lane, a tangible relief lifted the burden of ancestral guilt from her soul. With each mile, the darkness of the past receded, leaving her bathed in the light of newfound peace and the promise of a future unburdened by ancient sorrow. Could this departure be the beginning of a life redefined by redemption and hope?